Man, let's go back. Since we're like on the topic of KSR, man, talk about the origin of Kentucky Sports Radio and how it came.
So how old are you?
I'm 20, about to be 24. I'm 23 now.
23. So you would have been, when I started KSR, you would have been 5 years old.
Man.
So
toddler.
You want to talk about feeling old. I mean, in my mind, I'm not that much older than you, but in real life, I am. But so it was 2005.
Okay.
And I was practicing law and blogs, which it's been so long, blogs aren't even really as big a thing now as they used to be. But back then, blogs were the thing. There was no Twitter, there was no Instagram. Facebook existed, but like it was only for college students. So blogs were the way you kind of communicated on the internet. And I decided to start a Kentucky sports blog. Back then there were maybe a couple, but they weren't very big. And I just did it as a hobby. I never thought it would turn into anything. I was driving down the road one day and I was listening to NPR and I heard a guy named Adam Curry. You look up Adam Curry. He was an MTV VJ. Do you even know what a VJ is?
No, I don't.
So back when I was a kid, they showed videos. And so instead of disc jockey, it was like video jockey. And he would be on TV and he would introduce the videos. Well, he was on NPR and he said, there's this new thing that I've created called a podcast. Okay, he actually created the term podcast. The pod in podcast is iPod, which I don't even know if those exist anymore.
I didn't know that, yeah.
So the I was iPod, and you could download them and put them on your iPod, and when you went and walked around, you could listen to it, right? Yep. So he created that, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's a great idea. I could do that. So when I started the website, I called it Kentucky Sports Radio because I thought, I'm going to do a podcast. Nobody knows what podcasts are. I'll call it Kentucky Sports Radio. Maybe one day I'll get a radio show. And I put out a podcast and I put out a radio show at the same time. And then, you know, next thing you know, it's 18 years later and I'm not practicing law. And it was a slow growth. I mean, the first year, you know, nobody read it. But you just keep going, and then hope you get a break.
You talked about law, like, and the funny thing is, like, you studied law, but a lot of people don't know you were like top of your class, and you went to Duke. It was Duke law, like that's the
don't tell people that. They think I'm a Duke fan. Yeah, I went to law school, and I liked law. I mean, I teach a class at Georgetown College. I taught today. Really? I teach a class on law at Georgetown College. So I had my first class today.
What's the class?
Sports law.
Sports. Oh, okay.
So, but I enjoyed it. I'm one of the few people, I really liked law school, but I didn't particularly love practicing law. And so I did from 2005 to 2010, I did both. I practiced law and did this stuff on the side. Yeah. And then in 2010, I said, Cal got here, which was a big part of it. I mean, if Cal hadn't gotten here, I probably would still be a lawyer because when Cal got here, you know, everything exploded. So when I was a kid, UK basketball was huge.
Right.
The Richie Farmer, that group, then Patino, Mashburn. Then you had the 96 and 98 teams that win the title. Yeah. And then there was a period of time where it kind of, I'm not going to say it was always big, but it just, people didn't pay as much attention. Then Cal got here, John Wall. Yeah. So John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and Patrick Patterson. Again, Twitter doesn't exist. Instagram doesn't exist.
No social media.
TikTok doesn't exist. Facebook exists, but kids weren't really on it. So those guys liked Drew and I, and they would send us pictures and information to get out. Well, now they would just post it on social media, but that was their way to go, hey, and so Cal encouraged them to do it because it like showcased their personality. So John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins would send us stories of what was going on, and we'd know when other people wouldn't. And it really just made the site explode. And I always say, if it wasn't for Patrick Patterson, John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and Cal, who knows what would happen. But that all happened at the perfect time. And then a year or two later, Twitter and Instagram are big, so the players are just doing it on there. But we had this little gap where they used us.